Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about what qualities and characteristics anxious, preoccupied attachment style individuals will likely keep in their personality as they become secure, because I get a lot of questions about like what happens to us on the other side of becoming securely attached. And as a lot of you know, I get to witness these incredible transformations of so many beautiful, hardworking individuals that show up and have the courage to do that deeper inner work on themselves, of course, in this channel, and of course, also inside the personal development school on a very regular basis. So I get a lot of questions about this and figured I'd just make a video series around this. And before I dive in as well, if you are a viewer of this channel and aren't subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notification button. And this will also allow you to be a part of different live events we're going to be doing. Our first one being on May 13th. We will be hosting a webinar on here that you can join, and you will receive notifications of that accordingly. So with all of that being said, let's dive into this topic. And the reason I really wanted to do this topic is for the purpose of you also seeing, if you are AP, what life will feel like on the other side of becoming securely attached, and really just being able to visualize that picture. I find that if we don't have like a visualization or an idea or concept of something, sometimes it can, change or transformation can feel that much more scary, right? Because it's sort of like, we don't know what's going on the other side. It's like the monster under the bed. And then when you actually look, there's no monster there any longer. So we can sort of get these concepts or ideas about what it takes to get there, what it looks like on the other side. So I wanted to just get all of those pieces of lack of clarity out of the way here in this video. So one of the first things I tend to really see is we know about anxious preoccupieds, and something that I've always loved and loved working with clients who are anxious preoccupied is that they tend to be so warm, so charming, so considerate, so caring, so kind. They have this huge heart for other people, and they're very sympathetic and empathetic and conscientious about how they're affecting other people. And, there's all these beautiful characteristics and traits. Some of the problematic parts of those characteristics and traits is that when they become over magnified in a person's personality, they can also become really approval seeking. And it's fine to be approval seeking. We are all approval seeking at the end of the day to a certain degree. We are literally an approval seeking species. It's part of our evolution to a certain degree. When we start getting conditioned, it starts at an age where we're completely dependent on our caregivers. So we literally confuse and intertwine at a subconscious level approval and survival, essentially, as conditioning begins. So a lot of this is sort of deeply wired into us, but the big pain point and challenge for the anxious preoccupied person is that they become approval seeking at the expense of the relationship to themselves. And this means at the expense of their own boundaries, their own needs, their own feelings about different situations. And this is where there's a really strong downside. So what I see with a lot of anxious preoccupied individuals is that if you look at the mechanics of approval seeking, it's based on fear. Connection seeking is based on let me show up and connect and bond. But if you don't approve of me and we don't get along, that's okay. I don't really need everybody to like me. I just value human connection. And so when I'm disliked, I'm okay with that. I understand I'm not supposed to be every single person's cup of tea. And I can be accepting of that and still accepting of myself, and then move on to create new harmonious connections in different areas and with different people. Whereas approval seeking is very lack-based. It's really fear-based. It's I'm driven to bond and connect based on trying to achieve an outcome that isn't necessarily about the quality of that connection itself. And so approval seeking has strong downsides when it's in excess, right? Of course, we're going to have little portions of approval seekingness and even the securely attached person's behavior. But when it becomes an extreme, there's a strong downside that comes with it. And so what we see as the anxious preoccupied starts to really heal is they still have that really care and passion for their bonds and their relationships and the people around them, but no longer at the expense of the relationships themselves. They learn to take that care, that charm, that conscientiousness, that empathy, and they learn to give it to themselves equally as they give it to other people. And something that's so interesting about healing is I think sometimes we can get this concept or idea that it's only a subtraction, only an unlearning of unhealthy behaviors. But that's not the case. We have an unlearning of unhealthy behaviors, let's say, for example, an unlearning of a lot of that intense self-criticism or belief making that I'm not good enough, if a relationship doesn't work out, or if somebody doesn't call me back, it's a reflection that I'm unlovable. We delete those storytelling components of self as we reprogram those core wounds that spark them to begin with. But even beyond that, there's the subtraction of that, but the addition of love and care that goes inward in the relationship to ourselves too. So it can be both, right? So that's one of the first things. Also, by the way, I forgot to mention this earlier, but if you are interested and you want to start your journey and haven't had the chance yet, and you want to really work to become securely attached or work on just any area of your life that you're struggling with, you can join the school for 14 days for free. We're only doing this for the month of May. And you can sign up, you can check everything out. 14 days, we have more than enough time because each course is about 2.5 hours, 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours. I don't know, give or take somewhere in there. We have 50 different courses. So somewhere in that range. And you can literally go through at least one, if not 2 courses within that 14 days, really like focus in on any area of your life you're looking to improve, whether it's overcoming depression, anxiety, whether it's building your self-confidence and self-esteem, whether it's becoming securely attached, healing your relationships, the way you communicate, your feelings of self-worth and setting boundaries, like all this stuff is in there. You can check it all out for free for 14 days with the workbooks, the links, everything, our community events, the 4 webinars I do every week with our community, by clicking the link in the description box below. So anyways, so going back to this. So the first thing is like they tend to really bring up that relationship to self and like give that love and care in the relationship to themselves. And they keep that charisma, that care, that charm, that empathy, all those beautiful qualities. And the other thing that happens as well, that's the addition, it's like the addition and the subtraction, is the AP tends to remove a lot of that self-defeating inner dialogue that for the AP specifically happens the most in their romantic relationships. APs can be gentle to themselves and compassionate to themselves in many areas of life, but they tend to be really tough on themselves in the romantic area of relationships specifically, because they get so afraid. I think of it's like the sand slipping through your fingers, like they try to hold on so tight and they're so worried about things going wrong. So they kind of hyper focus on that. So APs don't just beat themselves up in the form of like, I will be abandoned, I'll be alone forever, I'm unlovable, I'm not good enough. They do all of that. They also fear the rejection and a lot of that internal dialogue. But even more than that, APs also tend to assign a lot of like personal responsibility in unhealthy ways that are too expectant of themselves. So they tend to really get into a spot where they'll go, it's all my fault. And as if like a relationship not working was only ever one person's responsibility. It's always going to be 2. There's always 2 parts to a relationship breakdown. And they'll give this meaning like it's all my fault. I can't do anything right. And they'll place these really intense expectations on themselves to like fix the other person, to heal the other person, like these things that are not actually their part of responsibility. It's like this idea that we are each 100% responsible for our half of the relationship, our 50% of the relationship each. And so when we try to get into somebody else's half, we can really go down this defeating path. So APs as well will tend to get rid of some of these unhealthy expectations of themselves, but still keep that passion and care for the relationships at the same time. Get rid of some of that approval seeking, but still care to a degree about what people think, but from a healthy, interdependent, balanced manner and focus. So you'll see a lot of these really big changes. They'll have that empathy, but also empathy towards themselves. And so they'll still have those major personality traits and qualities, but just from a more balanced, secure, grounded place where they give equal love to themselves too. So anyways, I hope this all makes sense. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video.